Michigan's short track racing authority is Horsepower Happenings.
Charlie Bauer, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Scotty Thiel, welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
John Beach, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Adam Terry, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
Paul Pelletier.
Corbin Hazlett, Riley Knoll.
Matt Kemp, Dylan Stovall, welcome into Horsepower Happenings.
From pavement to dirt, modifieds to sprint cars, hear from drivers, promoters, track owners, and many other industry leaders.
We worked on that car for 12 days straight, and when I got to the speedway Saturday, I was out of gas. I had to take a nap.
You're out there and, that groove, if you're outside of it, you could be a couple tenths off or even half a second off.
It is not the shock that you've won all these races. There's so many pieces to the puzzle to make these cars go fast.
I don't care what he says. I saw a thing on Facebook on somebody's post that's now been deleted that one of his crew guys said that the spotter told him car low and I wrecked him.
With over 50 years of experience from racing to management, here are Zach Heiser and Rich France.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome into Horsepower Happenings. Happy summer! First official day of summer. A lot of kids out for summer vacation. A lot of adults out for summer vacation too, with nothing better to do than play on their phones. Derek. But hey, it's good. We're here. Excited to be here. Let's go over some things that are happening in a Mark News Minute. In the world of NASCAR, I tell you what, Rich and I are going to have to talk about this one because I stayed up last night and watched the Cup Series race from Nashville. Wow. I mean, all right, we'll talk about it in just a minute. Denny Hamlin gets the win. Saturday in the Nopes Series, Justin Allgaier, the NASCAR Riley Auto Parts Series winner, and Lane Riggs gets the win Friday night in the trucks. RTJ got things started for the World of Outlaws weekend. He picked up the win Thursday night at Wayne County Speedway. And then how about Mansfield this weekend? Wow, what a lot going on. Tyler Erb grabbed the win in what was going to be a $12,000 payday. But then, moments before the race goes green, hey, this just in, this race now pays $100,000 to win. Good luck, be safe, have fun, we're coming to green. So Tyler gets a $100,000 payday on Friday. And then, Saturday, not to be outdone, another big increase. It pays $100,057 to win on Saturday, which was not the advertised purse. Nick Hoffman gets the win on Saturday night. And in the world of Outlaws sprint cars, they had to dodge some weather this weekend, but they did get to race on Friday night. Carson Macedo grabbed the win at River City Speedway in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Those things and so much more happening tonight on Horsepower Happenings. Good evening. Welcome in. I'm Zach Heiser. Rich France joins me from across the way. How's it going, sir?
Good. I got to work this weekend, got to work on Saturday at Flat Rock, so that was fun being back there with Gary, and got to still, even with that, I was able to catch some pretty good racing this weekend.
Good, yeah. I got grilled up one side and down the other that you didn't have an in for Friday night. I apologize. So thanks for tuning in to the show at I-96, which is going to help you out a lot coming up when we talk to Dustin Daggett after his winless streak comes to an end. But I got to ask you, did you see any of the Cup Series racing from Nashville last night?
Oh yeah, the white flag lap. Yeah, that was enough.
That's what you saw. Well, I tell you what, I
didn't think either one of them three had a chance of making it out of 1 and 2.
I sat down for the first time in quite some time. I got done doing all of my Sunday, honeydew list stuff, and I turned on Amazon Prime. I watched their rapid recap, and I thought, well, surely the race is almost over. No, I came in maybe midway through the second stage, right at the end of the first stage. I can't remember exactly where I came in. Rich, my wife will attest to this. She sat and watched it with me. I do not recall the last time that I exclaimed so many times during a Cup Series race. I mean, well, look, they're 5. That last restart, they went 5 wide, Rich, going into turn number 1. Are you kidding me? I was really happy with what I saw last night as a fan. I think that their caution periods are still a little bit too long, which I don't know if that's anything that they can clean up. Some of those crashes were pretty big. There probably was a lot of actual cleanup. For instance, Rich, the Bubba Wallace Alex Bowman crash, I had enough time to take a shower. I watched the first replay of the crash, took a shower, sat back down in time for the choose cone. That tells you how long either how quick the showers are or how long the caution periods are. But no, the on-track action at Nashville, I thought was really good. Even the green flag runs where they got strung out, I thought it was still really good racing. And Amazon Prime does a really good job with their coverage too.
And it's been a while for me since I've sat down and watched a NASCAR race just because, I mean, Sunday is my golf day anyway. That's a standing golf day. So I'd rather do that than watch a race. But all I needed to see was the last 2 laps, really. I mean, that told me everything that I needed to know. And it was just fun. I didn't know when they took the white flag, there were 1 of 3 cars was going to win the race. Couldn't have told you who.
Right. And that was good. The last, obviously when you have a shootout at the end, that usually adds to it. So, yeah, good stuff. I'm excited to see how it continues to progress here. See if they can get their short track package figured out as well. But I think they got the 1.5 mile stuff figured out. See what it does this week at Michigan. Obviously, that's not a 1.5 mile package. So we'll see how that unfolds. But all right, let's talk about some things that are happening in our region. Rich, High Limit Racing, of course, had a big weekend. They started Friday night at Lawrenceburg Speedway. Rico Abreu gets the win. And then 32 cars, I think, or something like that, roll into Butler Motor Speedway on Saturday night. How about all the locals that made the show? We'll talk about Aaron Reitzel and the winners coming up, but a lot of locals punched their ticket in this time.
Yeah, and I was looking at the locals. They were all in the grandstands. There wasn't anybody. if you wanted to go into Quincy or Coldwater, you'd be the only one because they were all at Butler Motor Speedway. What a crowd they had! Gotta feel good when you bring in a show like that, high paying show, and the fans come to support. And the guys, the drivers with GLSS decided to throw 410s in and jump in. Most of them had a pretty good night,
Yeah, and even the local guys with 410s. But to your point, Dustin Daggett, Max Stambaugh, they make the show. Zane DeVault, who was the GLSS points leader coming into the weekend, he has a good run, obviously, with him being on the All-Stars Tour this year. He did a nice job. Local Jason Blonde, Brad Lamberson, they punched their ticket into the show. So it was a good weekend for the locals. And then, does Aaron Reitzel get a gift? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. What do you think?
Aaron, you can't say a gift when he wins his 6th race of the year already. Come on. The guys, him and Tanner Thorson have been going at it since they first green flag, and they're still going at it, right? Every place they show up, they just seem like they're next to each other. And, they so far this season, I know it's early, but those two have been head and shoulders above everybody else.
You and I will hear the response. Our viewers won't, so we'll fill it in. Noah Longyear was at this race. Quickly, Noah, does Aaron Reitzel run Tanner down if Tanner keeps going? Lap traffic, easy to navigate. So maybe not. I don't. That's kind of inconclusive. If Tanner is getting through lap traffic as good as he is, that's usually what, if you're running second, you need to have happen is have some lap traffic hold up the leader. So hard to say. I was pulling for Brett Marks. I was pulling for Marks because I actually knew the Durst dice roller. So I was thinking, oh, well, if Garrett can win some money, I can find a couple of things that I'm sure Garrett owes me money for.
Well, your town's got 150 people in it. If they were all at the racetrack, the odds are we're going to know most of them.
150 people was pretty generous, Rich. Thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay, you speed watched, made your own highlight reel of the Reveal the Hammer Outlaw Super Late Models and their debut at Kinross. I heavily considered going to this event, but I didn't get home until 2 o'clock on Saturday morning, and I would have liked to have left at about 8 a.m. to go up there, so that didn't happen. And I did turn on the Racing America for as long as I could, but then Great Lakes Sprints TV duties called me away from that. So what'd you see? We're going to talk with Brian Bergakker coming up here in about 30 minutes or so. What'd you take away from the Reveal the Hammer debut at Kinross?
Okay, so now I have to say that was the first time I had ever laid eyes in any way, shape, or form
in any capacity
on the Kinross Speedway.
Wow.
Right? Never watched a race, never saw what it looked like. That place is flatter than Meyer parking lot.
It's a pretty flat quarter mile, isn't it?
Man, it is. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of looked like, and maybe the perspective, I thought it looked a little bit
maybe like a Galesburg. Maybe
Whittemore's got a lot of banking, so yeah, Galesburg. It definitely is a tight quarter mile.
It is, and you could see it. Those cars, when they were using a lot of brake because they were using the throttle down the straightaway, but they had to lock it down. And if you just got up off of that bottom groove just a little bit, man, that car just got tight. It seemed like anybody who got up, and that's what happened early. And Brian Bergakker started 6th and just kind of worked his way through. But man, it took him an hour the first 35 laps, caution after caution after caution, and it took a while. And then they finally got a good run in. Adam Terry had everything that Brian Bergakker wanted, and then he broke.
Yeah,
and he breaks, and so now he's got a straightaway lead over Mark Shook. Well, here comes Mark Shook. They get a caution, closes him up, and Mark Shook gives him all he can handle, and Brian holds him off.
Well, and let's not forget, too, I mean, Brian made an impressive pass to take the lead. Or Zach Cook, I think, was who was leading this race early, right?
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, he got underneath Zach Cook on a restart, and Zach just left him too much room. And Brian was able to get under him, and they had a heck of a battle for a while. Brian was stuck on the outside and just couldn't clear him.
Right.
And then he finally did. It took him several, I think it was 10 or 15 laps. They battled almost side by side. And then Brian was able to clear him on the outside. Caution comes out, and then, Brian's pretty good by that point, and they had a nice long green flag run, and Brian was able to get comfortable a little bit, I think.
All right, some breaking news from the weekend, and actually, this is breaking. We've got 2 breaking news stories coming. We need a breaking news. Stinger. We've got 2 of them right now. So, Great Lakes Super Sprints Friday at Lima Land. We already knew that they were going to run for $6,000 to win in the Ron Cale Memorial. We announced that last week, Rich. But more news has developed over the weekend. Additional monies have been added to this purse. It is now over a $21,000 purse for Friday's Ron Cale Memorial. $6,000 to win, $600 now to start in Friday night's event at Lima Land Motorsports Park for Great Lakes Super Sprints, Rich.
Yeah, what's that? Usually 2,500 to win?
2,500 to win, 400 to start.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's outstanding. You guys better. I think you guys are going to get a bunch of cars for that event.
Well, that's kind of what we're hoping. Kind of what you hope for when that happens.
Well, you might have a full B main. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, and that $5,000 to win show, we had 31 roll into the property a few weeks ago. So we'll see what happens on Friday night. Ohio Logistics, Miami Paint, Texas Roadhouse, University of Northwestern Ohio, Tim Hogan's Carpets, all stepping up to make this possible, as well as the Great Lakes Sprints and GreatLakesSprints.tv. So over $21,000 purse on Friday at Lima Land Motorsports Park, so it's sure to be a good show. Now, this breaking news happened just before we went on the air, Rich. Tough bit of news for one of our local drivers. It was announced on social media that Grove Racing and Keith Sheffer Jr. will be parting ways effective immediately. This post was made on Sheffer Motorsports or Sheffer Racing's Facebook page. It says, quote, "This decision stems from funding concerns and differing expectations regarding the financial commitment required to continue this season. With the season not yet halfway complete, this was not the direction I, Keith Sheffer Jr., anticipated. I'm grateful to my sponsors, supporters, family, and everyone who has continued to back me throughout this journey. Thank you for your continued belief and support. My focus now shifts to what's next, and I'm looking forward to the next chapter." Not unheard of, Rich. We see this a lot, unfortunately, in sprint car racing, specifically 410 touring sprint car racing, where all of a sudden the bills start coming in, and there seems to be a differing of opinion on how things should be handled.
Yeah. So what is this kind of like? If you want to keep racing, we need more money type thing.
Kind of what it sounds like to me when I read that. Right? Isn't that what you hear?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. You start the season, and I guess you got to be on the inside to know really what the deal is, right? They only know what the costs are, what they're dealing with, and maybe they're not bringing in this year as much as they thought that they were going to win, maybe to kind of offset some of that spending, right?
Yeah.
It all goes. A lot of these guys. I mean, these aren't professional teams. That a lot of this money goes back into the teams to run through the season, right? These smaller teams, and that could have been part of the issue as well.
I wanted to go through the power rankings. We just don't have time because I want to get to your weekend winners, Rich, but I want to say thank you to Competition X Sports for being the presenting sponsor of the Dirt Late Model Power Rankings. How Racing Enterprises, the presenting sponsor of the Asphalt Modifieds. Midwest Camper Repair, the presenting sponsor of the Wing Sprint Cars division. Your Business Here, that's kind of like waiting for data on the Race Monitor app.
Yep.
Waiting for data. Your Business Here. presenting the Outlaw Super Late models and the Template Late models currently. But that one might be changing. So very cool. Thank you for that. We'll have those updated on marknews.org throughout the week. And Rich, for the first time in a couple of weeks, all 5 power rankings will see some movement this week. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been starting to use up our bonus points, which there's a few drivers that richly deserve them, right?
Yes.
And they're putting on some good performances early in 2026, and so the group that's kind of that has access to bonus points.
What a way to put that.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more bonus points issued throughout 2026 if it keeps up this way.
Well, a couple of these names you're going to read off here are probably going to be awarded some bonus points this weekend. Let's look at the weekend winners list. Rich, what do you got?
Well, we're going to start things off with, I got to do it this way, the USS Winston, right? We got to, right. The late models, Brandon Thurlby picked up the win on Friday night at Winston Speedway. Greg Goki in an IMCA modified. That's rare.
I know.
Right?
I had the same reaction. I know.
I was like, what the heck? Is that a misprint when I saw that? So he picked up the win. Pro late model was Ronnie Van Adder. Street stocks, Mike Lynn. Cyber stocks, Alan Murray. Warriors, Chase Willard picked up the win in the mini wedges, 6-9, Axel Smith. And in 10-14, Racer Smith. Is that like
legit? Yes,
man. I wonder what he's going to do with his career. Is he going to be a racer?
he should probably get a full scholarship ride to the UNOH, don't you think? Because they are the racers.
Just for that, right? Yeah, right. Absolutely. Then let's jump over to Owasso Speedway. This was pretty cool. I watched this. Late model sportsman Hunter Jack picked up the win, but with a kicker. Owasso Speedway has a deal that if you choose to start dead scratch trunk, as you would say, Zach,
that's right,
and you win the race, you get the bonus money. Well, some as people don't do it or they turn it down, they add $100 a week or a couple $100 a week to it. $1,400 was the amount that Hunter Jack picked up on top of the purse for the race, starting 14th, going all the way to the point and winning the late model sportsman event. I see bonus points coming there. Modifieds, David McManus picked up the win.
Good job by David.
Yep, another good job by David. MCR Dwarf Cars, Parker Tetro picked up the win in the MCR Dwarf Cars. And Street Stocks, Austin Maynard picked up the win at Owasso, Zach.
All right, Berlin Raceway on Saturday, super late models. Here's a name that we actually haven't said very often over there at Berlin in the last couple of weeks, at least. Brian Campbell gets the win. Sportsman, Brian. Now, I always say, how do you say his last name? Because I always say it a little different.
Tommy.
Oh, you say you pronounce the E. I always thought it was just Brian Tome. So I don't know, Brian. Write us.
I do that because there was a baseball player for the Cleveland Indians called Jim Thome, and it was spelled the exact same way.
Okay, all right. I'll give you that. He wins Sportsman Race number 1. Scott Baker, Sportsman Race number 2. 4 cylinders. Luke Boma wins number 1. Dennis Holtzlander III wins feature number 2, and the Vintage Roadsters, Brady Musser picks up the win. And at Crystal Motor Speedway. Wow, what a weekend. Could he get some bonus points in the power rankings? Brandon Thurlby
probably will. He probably will.
on Saturday night. IMCA Modifieds, Casey Smith, who dominated Mid-Michigan Raceway Park last year, goes to Crystal Motor Speedway and grabs a win. Pro Stocks, Michael Husted gets the win. IMCA Stock Cars, Mike Vandermark Jr., what a surprise. Bill Wilkins gets the Bombers win, and in mini wedges, Cruz Rhea 6-9 and Lily Barber 10-14. All right, we are grossly behind schedule already. I know, Rich, you wanted to make some more comments, but we have to move on. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, our first featured interview of the night, Dustin Daggett, coming up straight ahead here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, trap moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171. Or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Koty Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's our pleasure now to welcome in our first guest. He makes his home in Portland, Michigan. He was a popular man on Friday night. Dustin Daggett, what's going on?
Well, just trying to get things situated for the next weekend.
You got wash day going on. 2 cars to wash. Now, do you have to do wash day on your own? Who gets wash day duties?
Usually Dad does it, but we've actually got 3 cars to wash because we got Andy's car, my car that I ran Friday night, and the Butler car Saturday. So,
don't you have some kids?
We got, well, they're off at the batting cages. They're trying to get better.
They got their own sports going on. All right, cool.
Right.
Well, I want to talk. Let's start with Friday. I think that's the big thing, and then we'll talk about some other stuff going on. But man, I think the very first thing I want to talk about is the fans, man. And I know you've been doing this a long time, and you're humble, but I'll say it. You know, you've been popular for a long time. Watching people put their fists in the air when they heard that you were starting on the pole, watching people pump their hands when you started pulling away from Chase Dunham, and then watching them just get on their feet when you took the checkered flag and the noise they made when you got out of the car. Like, have you ever been part of an atmosphere like that revolved around what you were doing?
I don't think so. You know, it's hard to go back this far, but there's one time that I was standing on the stage at Eldora with during the King's Royal. I won the 360 portion of that, and there was a lot of people around there, and it was that was a lot to take in. But hearing the fans, you know, this past Friday, it really it's something else. You know, I know that not everybody's a Dustin Daggett fan, but I don't know if they were a little bit more just because of my situation that I had going on. And, you know, it was tough going that many races without winning something, especially being so close. You know, and like you say, it didn't quite click in the moment, you know, listening to all those fans cheer, but you can hear it on the video. The interview and that kind of stuff is pretty cool.
Yeah, when we were talking, and I admit to anybody, I say I have a hard time reading Dustin. I really do. And when we were talking in Victory Lane, I thought, man, Dustin's getting a little emotional on me right now. What were you feeling? The crowd obviously adds to that. Anytime, like, it gives me goosebumps to even talk about it, let alone be in the moment. But the crowd's a part of that, and then you look and you see Grandpa, and you look and see your family, and so many people pumped up. What was the emotional side like for you on Friday night?
Just you you start to wonder there a little bit if I was ever even going to win a feature again. The competition the way that it was, and um, it's just you. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, I guess. I guess I didn't expect the reaction from the fans, everybody else. I didn't think it was that big a deal. And looking back at it's a pretty big deal. So,
Dustin, if it was an over under and they would have said over under of Dustin Daggett going almost 2 years without winning a race, I would have went under and I would have lost every dollar I owned because I would have put every dollar I had on it, right? That it wouldn't have been. But what was it? You weren't running bad. I mean, you guys were running up front. Was it just circumstances most of the time that was just like, man, just that other spot just can't get there?
No, because like last year at I-96 when Jared passed me on the last lap, or 2 to go or something, whatever it was. I think it was just kind of just relaxing too much and, not pushing the issue to the end, and not being aggressive enough. Because when we came up on lap cars, it's, I don't know if I tended to just take it more easy and not be as aggressive, but, I don't know if the car was just that much better than everybody else or, whatever it was. I kind of took that in mind on those last 5 laps. I was getting a little nervous because the car was starting to get pretty tight on me. And I was concerned that either Chase or Scott was gonna get by me, catch me. But in my situation there, you don't know how far anybody is behind you. Probably the last 2 laps, it was probably the hardest laps that I ran around that place, and I almost bit it off from 1 or 2. So.
Did you have to tell yourself to make it a point to run this thing out, run it hard the rest of the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. After that caution, I'm like, all right, we got halfway. We're literally halfway, 12 laps down and 13 to go. And I'm like, car was driving good enough where and the drivers out there know what I'm talking about when I say this, that I could have ran probably 50 laps with that thing if it would have been just like it was in the first half of that race, or the first 20 laps. The last 5 laps is what kind of got me wore out because the car got so tight, and I really had to, get elbows up and really drive the hell out of the thing.
Mm-hmm. I know one of the text messages that you got was from Barry. What other sort of messages did you receive after the win? And anybody significant reach out to you that you thought, wow, I didn't know they would be paying attention?
I got a lot of congratulations from a lot of different people. None that really stick out, I guess, too much. I guess the biggest one was Barry did, reach out and congratulate me, and, we talked a little bit about it. So yeah.
Which I think is cool because he's working another race in Lima, Ohio. And I don't know if he told you, but he told me the story when I called him on the way home. And he said, I was doing payout and I see the reel pop up and it's, Dustin Daggett, the streak ends, and then he hears me calling you to the checker, and he told me, I don't know if he told you this, he said that he got emotional about it. I mean, that's the kind of weight that you pull for everybody, man. It was a huge deal, and you'd been so close. I think that was the other part of it, kind of like you and Rich talked about, is so many second place finishes, and you even kind of said that in victory lane. You knew that you had the car that was fast enough to do it, just circumstances didn't allow that to happen. And I think that's what made it so sweet for us to see you go back to victory lane. But man, was it probably, I imagine, just infuriating for you.
Yeah, it's tough. You roll out and finish second, which it's not a bad finish. Those second place finishes really, they still pay quite a bit. The points,
but it's not about the money, is it? I mean, that's a great point. No, it's not always about the money.
It's not about the money. It helps. And it's just one of those things that it's just that next step can be the hardest sometimes. And I have kind of toned back a little bit. I've kind of looked at things and figured out that I don't want to be working on a race car, all week really hard to put it back together after I've wrecked the crap out of it because I did something stupid. We went to Lima for the 5,000 run for the Rabbit, and run there, and the car was not good at all. I completely screwed up the setup on that, and I came in, and Andy Tunison was there, and he says, well, that wasn't lack of effort, because he said you were all over the damn racetrack. I said, yeah. I said I had to actually calm myself down to stop trying and searching, because the car was starting to get to a point where I was going to wreck it because I was trying so hard to make something happen. And it's situations like that you got to look at and go, is it really worth pushing a little bit extra harder at this point when I'm running 16th and, not really going to make much more of it, and just finish with what you got and roll the car in the trailer and live to race again.
Dustin, I was able to hang out a couple years ago more with you guys back in the pits with Zach than I have been in the last couple of years. And you've always had a positive attitude when I've talked to you and been around. Was there a point during this whole last couple of years where you didn't realize that you hadn't won? And was there a point where you said, man, it's been that long? And like you said, is that the point where you started pressuring yourself?
Well, yeah, that's it too. You do maybe put a little extra pressure on yourself, and you get yourself nerved up a little bit, just because there is that extra pressure to do that one spot better. That many second place finishes does just get a little frustrating, for not just me, everybody else. There's lots of times where we finish second and everybody's just like, yeah, great, another second, and it's not just me, it's everybody else that's around you, so
I know I got tired of interviewing him after he finished second. I can tell you that.
You were scared to walk up to him?
I did not want to talk to Dustin Daggett after another second finish. Real quick, I want to say thank you to our interview sponsor. Did I make sure this happened? Yeah, maybe a little bit. Sweet Manufacturing, proud supporter of Horsepower Happenings, and Dustin Daggett. Here, let's do this. Dustin, what sort of things can you, as a sprint car team, get from Sweet Manufacturing? What sort of stuff do you use from there?
Steering gears, wing cylinders, wing valves, power steering pumps. I think they might make a steering stabilizer for the front. Sweet has really, back when Randy developed the Sweet Manufacturing steering gear for a sprint car, I helped him develop it a little bit. He put it in my car, and we won with it the first night out. And
nice.
he was at the racetrack that night with me, and he thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah, absolutely. Proven winner right out of the gate. 269-344-2086, by the way. 269-344-2086 or sweetmanufacturing.com. Free shipping on orders over $500. I want to ask you about Saturday night. You make a decision to go to Butler Motor Speedway, a place that every time we get ready to go to, Tim Wilbur says, "Man, Dustin's owed a win here. Man, Dustin needs to win here. He just this place owes him one." Talk about deciding to go there, and I mean, really, the logistics of a team. What are you hoping to accomplish racing against a national level touring series, whether it's High Limit or World of Outlaws or even the All-Star Show last year at Hartford? What is a goal for a team like you to go in and compete with those guys?
Well, Saturday night we made our goal. I made the feature, so that was the first night out on that car. It took a few laps for me to get comfortable with it. But getting comfortable at Butler's a little hard for me anyways. But and it's just different. It races different than any other racetrack. And you go in there and you have the car not feel quite right, but is it because it's got so much banking in the place, or is it because I'm running a 410 versus a 360? Is it, there's a lot of different factors there that come into play. And it's just my biggest thing was to get some laps with the 410, get the car shook down, and we made improvements on it. Didn't make great improvements for the feature. It's kind of part of the reason I just pulled off. I wasn't making good progress. So we changed some stuff for the feature just to try it, and I didn't really like it. So other than that,
will any of those changes cross over to the 360 when you go there?
Probably not.
Okay. Because of the engine size? I mean, when you're trialing and erroring things, engine size, engine weight, all those things play into that.
The front end is a lot lighter with the 410. The whole attitude of the car is different. You gotta really adjust your driving style, I guess, to go from the 360 to the 410. I think it's a little easier to go from the 410 to the 360. So, it's just we run the 360 so much, you get comfortable with that, and then you go and you feel 200 more horse, and it's a big change. So,
Dustin, I was at my track Saturday, so I couldn't be at Butler. I wanted to go. I wanted to go so bad, but is that place as dusty as it looks on TV? And are they afraid to put too much water down on it?
I don't think water is going to help it. It is dirty. I don't know if anybody's seen Tanner Holmes's response from that whole deal, but if you're starting 6th or 5th, 6th, 7th in there, and they start a race, man, you can't see anything on the starts. There is just so much crap being thrown in your face, and that was another reason I pulled off, is because I was getting pelted with rocks. So, yeah, that's not great. So I hope they make some improvements there.
Yeah, I know that's been an area that Tim's been trying to work on for sure. But it's such a unique. For me, when I'm watching in the stands or watching on TV, when a driver says, "Man, that place is dusty," I'm thinking it is because it's not the typical dust in the air that we're used to seeing, where it's hard to see through. It's such a heavy material, but it's such a loose material that is why it's hard. Is that what I'm hearing from you?
Yeah. You grab a hold of that stuff, you pull it off the race car after the heat race or whatever race, and you crumble it in your hands like your wife made that little cube
at I-96
Crystal. Yep. I think it was after Crystal maybe, or I-96, whatever. But you can't do that with the stuff at Butler. It just crumbles and falls apart. Mm-hmm. So.
All right, my last thing, and then Rich, if you've got anything, you can run with it. But you and I have talked about this car that you won with on Friday. I would like you to publicize the as the kids would say, the lore of this chassis. What is the background, the history of this car that you won with on Friday?
Well, it's
the deep
I don't
breath.
even know.
The deep breath is a great precursor, because where do you start?
This thing does have a lot of history. It started life out, I believe, the Ridenhauers bought it brand new. And Chase that was pretty much Chase's primary car for the season that he won the championship, which was 17, right?
16.
16?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then I ended up buying it from him because they had wrecked it, and Grandpa and I fixed it with a porter power and a torch. And we went out, we took it out for was it 2018 season, and won the championship with it, and won a lot of races that year with that car. Towards the end of the season, the last time we went to Lima, I believe, I stuffed it in the fence and broke some front end parts and bent the front end up on it. And after that night, we had it fixed by somebody, and it didn't, never really quite felt right after that. But we still had it. I turned it into a non-wing car, went and won some non-wing races with it. And then decided that I was going to put a wing back on it, and I had Brian Ruhlman check it for straight, and he tweaked it back a little bit, and apparently he got it back to where it should be. And then Andy, we put it together for Andy to drive, and then I had that issue with the fuel pump one night in hot laps with my car, and basically kicked him out of his seat and said, I'm getting in. But that was the whole plan right along. That's the whole thing with having two cars there, is if we do have an issue, I can get in the other car. And then it's proven to be, the thing handles good. I talked to Zane. Zane come up to me and he says, Zane DeVault at Butler on Saturday, he says just the attitude of that car looks really, really good. And I can sit in that thing and it just rolls around the corner really nice, where I haven't quite figured out why I can't make the other cars do what that one does. So
I got to ask you about Andy, by the way. Was it Crystal? I can't remember if it must have been Crystal. He went out there, and man, I'd not seen Andy do that in quite some time. Definitely not in your car. He went out there and had a great qualifying effort, had a great heat race, had a good feature too. I think that's cool for me to see Andy. Obviously I remember him racing his 31, but to see him start, kind of running your stuff that hard again, that was cool for me. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. He was pretty excited about, that qualifying lap that he put down, because he qualified better than I did.
Mm-hmm.
And when you qualify like that, it makes your night a lot easier, as everybody knows. With the qualifying lap that I was able to put down Friday night with going out so late, and it was at that point I knew I had a pretty good car. But yeah, Andy's been a big part of our program. He's helped me out financially. And he puts a lot of his 2 cents in on what we should do for, setting the cars up and that kind of stuff. So
I lied. I have one more thing, Rich. One more. And it's because I saw his hat. You got to tell me about your new sponsor. We talked about this thing at Crystal. That is a cool business. Tell me what they do.
Got a couple new sponsors this year. The one is Performance Diesel. They're out of Sunfield. They did all the work to my truck over the winter. So got to say big thanks to them. But this Velo X Aerospace is the company that I my shop that I work for, we do work together, and these people are out at the Hastings City Airport, and they're into powered parachutes. They're into the whole Velo X aerospace it's still in the process of getting all legalized and all that kind of stuff, and but it's a manned drone that will be used for basically commuting. They said you can program this thing and it'll pretty much fly you to wherever you need to go.
Rich is shaking his head.
I don't think so. Not this fat body. Ain't a chance in the world.
Pretty cool little deal. They've got a website if you look up Velo X Aerospace. They've been taking orders for these things, but they haven't got one out in the field yet because of all the legal stuff you got to do, I think.
I think it would be cool, man. Some of those shots that these drones get, and then to actually have your own personal, man, that'll be neat. That'll be neat.
So,
all right.
Yeah,
Rich,
it's big thanks to them, everybody that's involved. So,
yeah, well, I was gonna say, man, before we let you go, as friends, I'm real proud of you, man. That was awesome. I was watching it and was happy for you. I saw how emotional you were getting to all over it, especially all them fans supporting you. Like we said earlier, that was just badass, right? And so you named a couple of these sponsors. I want to give you a shot to name everybody else that helps you out on that car.
well, we pretty much covered them all. We got Homeworks Construction with Andy, the Performance Diesel, Velo Aerospace, Sweet Manufacturing, Sanborn Real Estate, and Grandpa.
There you go. Cool. Dustin, congratulations, man. I'm excited to see what, Rich talked about it, what this does for the rest of your season. I'm looking forward to it, and I know you are too. So nice job, and we'll see you Friday.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, another driver who broke a long winless streak, Brian Bergakker, is coming up next here on the Horsepower Happenings podcast.
One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook.
Mark News is back. Michigan Area Racing Connection News keeps fans in the tri-state area up to date on national headlines, local results, regional news, and so much more. Home of the Horsepower Happenings podcast, 500 Sprintcast, Gridline Social, Job Bank, Fastlane Images, KG Media, and so much more. MarkNews.org is the one stop for any race fan who needs to know what's going on in the Michigan area. Plus, get the Mark News weekly newsletter sent right to your inbox, FREE free. Sign up today and learn more at marknews.org. Marknews.org, the Michigan Area Racing Connection.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Koty Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Horsepower Happenings podcast. It's time now for our second featured interview of the night. Double the winless streak and give it to the next guy. That's what Dustin Daggett said, and they both fell over the weekend. It's our pleasure to welcome in Brian Bergakker. What's going on, my friend?
Thanks for having me, guys. Just interested in doing the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you for being on. We got to be specific, though, and Rich, we talked about this, too. Reveal the Hammer Outlaw Super Late Model winless streak. It's been a long one. You've obviously won in the Outlaw. Heck, you won in the Outlaw earlier this year. You've got modified wins. But was there a sense of not urgency, but irritation about being held out of victory lane with Reveal the Hammer?
Yeah, for sure, a little bit. I mean, I think we don't run all the shows, right? We pick and choose what races we want to go to. So yeah, there's a little bit. We typically run really good at Berlin, Kalamazoo, stuff like that, right? But yeah, not winning for a couple years. We've actually had 2 really bad years in a row. 2024, 2025 were not good years for us with the Outlaw car. Win with the mod and all that stuff, but we just didn't have the speed with the Outlaw car, So we've been working hard. We worked hard over the winter to get that speed back, and we're headed in the right direction, but we're not there yet.
See, this is interesting. A guy gets the win, goes to victory lane. No, we're not there. So how do you balance that, right? I mean, yeah, you get the job done on Saturday. It's kind of a rough and tumble race. What do you feel like you still need? How do you draw takeaways from that and still celebrate a win?
Yeah, I mean, for the car now, like we just don't have the instant speed. We don't have the qualifying speed. I think the tires this year are a little bit better for us for our package. The last couple of years, we haven't had the qualifying speed or the race speed. Right now, we have race speed. Seems like we're pretty good on race speed, but just not qualifying speed. Even in practice, we're not top of the board. Even close to it. We're 8th, 9th, 10th. Even Kinross, we were not, top of the board. We just kept working on the car, making it better. And then the last practice session, I was like, yeah, we found something, but it still doesn't have that instant speed. So that's what we're looking for now. We obviously have the race speed, but we just need the instant speed to go with it.
And, to verify that, you came out to Flat Rock earlier in the year, to get your feet wet, because I'm assuming because you were planning on running the Joy Fair and the Stan Yee again this year. And you qualified 6 fast, which was not but that was your first time on the new pavement too, trying to learn that. Was that part of that night?
Yeah, that was part of it. I mean, Berlin rained out, canceled that day for cold weather, I think, right? And we're like, oh, we're loaded up, ready to go. Where do we want to go? Flat Rock was the only place racing. So let's go learn a new asphalt. Let's go learn a new track. And it sets us up for, this weekend's a Joy Fair. And then, we got the Stan Yee later in the year. We're not 100% confirmed to go to that, but we want to enjoy racing Flat Rock. But it was different going to Flat Rock with the new asphalt. Especially with, how fast it is. I mean, we're going a half second faster on there than what we used to go. So the setups have changed, things have changed, and I just didn't hit the qualifying setup in the 20 minutes of practice we got, right? So, and then I knew we were going to race good because I was like, in practice, it was really good. It just didn't have that instant speed like the other guys had.
Did you feel more comfortable starting on the front row in that position? With the new racetrack?
I did. I figured it was going to be tough to pass, and it was tough to pass. The outside groove is not there at Flat Rock yet. I hope it gets there because that's one of my favorite places to race, right, is the top groove at Flat Rock. But yeah, it wasn't there. I was pretty confident we could run well, especially starting on the front row. But those guys have picked up some speed down there. They've been working on their packages. The track is faster. They've picked up, so it's not a cakewalk by any means, even starting on the front row. Chris,
let's talk about this weekend. Now, and me and Zach and I were talking about this a little bit ago. It was the first time when I got to watch it, Kinross this weekend. So I had never seen it on video or anything. And I said, that thing's flatter than a Meyer parking lot. Am I close?
It's not that flat. It's not Flat Rock. It's not Kalamazoo, right? But it's got a little bit of banking in the corners, but it does kind of like level off, coming off a little faster, right? So it's flat down the straightaways. There's no banking on the straightaways really, which is not what we typically race at, right? So a little different, more like a Spartan, I guess I would say. But yeah, pretty flat and some banking in the corners, but not a whole lot.
I had said like a Galesburg maybe.
Yeah, similar. It's been a long time since I've been to Galesburg, but yeah, very Galesburg, maybe a little bit more banking than Galesburg has for sure.
All right, let's break down the race then. This, as I said at the top, is a stop and go type of race. You get some cautions in the midway. I turned it on. I said at the top of the show, I turned it on for like 10 or 15 minutes, and I watched more caution laps than I did green flag laps before I had to go back to what else I was doing. How hard was it to get into a rhythm and finally get your way to the front and then do what you got to do at the end of this Uper 100?
So yeah, I was a little nervous at the start, right? That's not my style racetrack, the braking, type racetracks. I'm more momentum guy. But yeah, it was a little tough at the start to understand really what was going on. All the accidents were behind, where I was at. But it's just seemed like we get 2 laps, caution, 2 laps, caution. It's hard to understand at that point, really, where this is going to go. Are we going to continue this for 100 laps? Hopefully not. Hopefully we get some green flag runs, but it was tough, you know, and then I'd never seen the place until Friday. A lot of people hadn't seen it till Friday. So I think that was part of the caution issue, right? And like nobody really knew how it was going to race. How do you pass, right? So I think that was part of it. And then we kind of finally settled in there in a long green flag run. And then it got, you know, my car kind of came to me during that long green flag run.
This restart right here, trying to go around Zach. Talk about how tough this was to make the outside work, and could the outside groove have come in? You know, Rich was kind of saying it looked like the bottom was the place to be. Was that just momentum on a restart that got you there, or do you think there's an opportunity for an outside lane?
Well, a little bit of that. I think Zach spun his tires on a restart. I got a really good restart that time. He had beaten me 2 or 3 restarts before that. Zach was really fast at the start of the race. Like, he got out front and kind of drove away. He was going faster than I wanted to at that early in the race. And then we had that restart, and he kind of spun the tires a little bit, and I got a really good restart on the outside. And it was like, all right, I'm going to push it this time and see if I can get the lead. I'm going to do this for 2 or 3 laps. If I can't do it, then I'm going to back up and tuck and ride. Because we still had a long way to go at that point, but like, I feel like the top groove wasn't going to come in. I don't think you were going to just keep passing on the outside. I don't think it was there.
And I got to talk. You're out there leading, but man, Adam Terry didn't let you go. He was all over you, and then unfortunately he breaks. Right? I mean, you guys had a heck of a race going on, and it looked like you were kind of getting a little tight off of 4, and he was kind of looking underneath you, right? And then he breaks. And then lo and behold, here comes the Mark Shook show for later in the race.
Yeah. I actually didn't know Adam was that close. I thought I heard somebody at one point, but I never saw him. So I was just kind of trying to be smooth, hit my marks, not spin the tires, keep the tires underneath me. There's no scoreboard there, right? We don't have spotters. We have receivers, and that was it. Nobody knew really what lap we were on, how many laps were to go, like any of that stuff, right? So I was just trying to be patient and save my stuff. And, you know, if Adam would have showed, I probably had something to pick up to try to hold him off. But yeah, I didn't know he was that close. And it's interesting when you don't have the radios or anything to tell you where you're at, you know?
I remember when I was running, 20, 25, 30 lap features, you'd get to going out there sometimes to be like, man, is this race ever going to end? Do you feel like you're kind of in the twilight zone out there with nobody in your ear, no scoreboard, no nothing?
No, I was pretty focused. I mean, it was tough coming off of turn 4. The sun was going down. You couldn't see the flagman at all. Literally, you could see the shadow of the flag stand, but you couldn't see the flagman.
What a waste of Michael McIntyre. What a
right? We didn't even need him. No, just kidding. But no, seriously though, like, I missed the white flag. I missed the checkered flag. I missed it all. I couldn't see the flagman. Wow. You know, I didn't know what flag he was flowing. It could have been the move over flag, but I didn't quit until I saw a flagman in turn 3 with the checkered flag in his hand. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going until I see the checkered flag. But yeah, you get lost out there sometimes. And I was just focused on hitting my marks and not making a mistake that I just stayed that way, you know?
Talk about the whole weekend. I've got some my family's originally from north of the bridge. The St. Ignace, Moran area, lower upper peninsula is kind of where we go to get away. Do you have a chance to get up there and kind of relax it all with the race car? I think those are some fun weekends that sometimes we lose sight of.
Yeah, that's the whole reason we went. It wasn't on the schedule to go to Kinross. And then like a month ago, we started talking about it like, hey, we don't really have anything going on that weekend. It was going to be the weekend after Flat Rock was supposed to happen, right? We didn't have any racing going on. So like, let's make the trip north, right? And let's go have some fun. Basically was the thought process. We went up Friday. We went right to the racetrack, did practice. We got out of the racetrack pretty late, went to the hotel, got some dinner, and then got back up on Saturday, went back to the racetrack. We didn't get much time to do any touring or anything like that, but it's beautiful up there, right? Just being in the UP, it's an awesome place to be. I never expected to race in the UP myself. I've never even thought about it. So it was cool to go, north of the bridge. Although I'm not a fan of driving across the bridge myself, but it was cool to go north and hang out with the crew for a weekend and just have a good time.
I rode my motorcycle across the bridge, so nothing scares me anymore about the Mackinac Bridge.
Yeah, you're a better man than me. I'm not doing that.
Hey, white knuckled, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was hanging on to that thing for all she was worth, but it was an awesome experience. I want to say thank you to our partner for tonight's interview. That is the Muffler Man of Coldwater. And Rich, you've heard me say this for weeks. They are more than just our tires. And I'm going to take advantage of that tomorrow. I'm actually going to take my new race hauler, my new race chaser, over to the Muffler Man. I'm going to get 4 brand new tires, 20-inch tires. Listen to this, for a 3/4 ton truck for under $1,000. Okay. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about choosing the Muffler Man, and that's going to come with a free alignment because they're going to protect my investment of 4 brand new tires and make sure that they're going to wear properly and evenly. And that's what you're going to get at the Muffler Man. And they're full service too. You can get oil changes. As we talked about the alignment, if something breaks on your car, they can get you hooked up. And they're racer owned. So be sure to check them out if you're in this neck of the woods. Muffler Man of Coldwater, a Hankook tire dealer. Rich, got anything else for Brian?
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask it. Brian had brought up, the last couple of years you've been running more of the modified, it seems like, right? When you said you were just missing something with the Outlaw. Is it hard to give both cars the time they need? I mean, it seemed like you put the extra time in the modified, so you were competitive and winning. Did that hurt your Outlaw program?
No, you actually have it backwards. We put more effort into the Outlaw car. To be honest with you, the modified is just fast. If we work on it too much, it goes slower. So we do the basic maintenance to it. We try stuff, we do different things, but the modified is just a really fast race car where we take it. The Outlaw car was getting full attention. Everything we could do to make it go fast, we were just missing something, right? I attribute a lot of it to the tires. Like after 2023, we won a lot of races in 2023. We were fast. And then they switched the tire to the ST1 and 2, and it just didn't suit us. Like we couldn't find that speed again, right? Now we're on the Star tire. It's a little bit softer tire, a little bit better tire, in my opinion. I think some of that speed's coming back to us. I think the setups from a couple years ago are a little bit better than what we were running the last 2 years.
So let's talk about some good news and good memories, okay? Man, this weekend you're going back to a place where you've taken a lot of money and a lot of hardware on the shelf. How optimistic are you after running earlier this year, going back there for the Joy Fair this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to get a win there, right? I didn't really have to pass anybody. So that's a little bit of a concern that I have, if we qualify better, which I hope we do, starting in the back. They usually do a big inversion for that race. So starting in the back is going to be a little bit tough to get to the front. I've watched a lot of races there last year, just trying to understand how the track's racing. And it looks like it's a, bottom feeder groove. They said last year at the end of the year, it got better at the top. Hopefully the top comes in, because obviously I'd love to be up there passing cars. But I think it's going to be more of a, Kinross style thing where you're going to have to pass on the bottom. You're going to have to make it happen. But my car was really good in the first race. I rode for most of the last half of the race, just saving tires, waiting for a caution. And, we never really got it, but I think it's going to be good. I'm excited to go back. The new asphalt is awesome. Just to be able to go around there that fast, practicing 11 ones, right? Where 2 years ago, fast time was an 11:60, right? So it's like a half a second faster. It's just unbelievable to do. And they did a great job paving it. It's super smooth. So.
And so, I mean, what do you think there's only going to be 2 divisions, right? And both late models, and they're all going to have 10-inch tires. With the CRA Turn 1 Pro Series, between you guys and them, you're going to be able to put a lot of rubber on that racetrack in practice.
Yeah, I think that's going to help. I don't know what tire they're on. If it was the same tire, it'd be awesome, because I think it would really lay down good rubber. Sometimes the tires don't mix. Like, we'll pick up their rubber, or they'll pick up our rubber, vice versa. But I think with that many cars there with 10-inch tires, there's definitely going to be some rubber on the racetrack that's going to help. And I hope it helps the passing in the top groove, because it's Flat Rock puts on a great show when you can run too wide.
What tires are you guys on the Outlaw?
We're on the ST1 and 2 stars.
Well, I don't. I think they're still on the STs, aren't they, Rich, this year?
Yeah, I think ST1s and ST3s, maybe.
I think so. I don't.
Okay.
Is the Star the new version of that, or is it a different tire?
Yeah, it's a Star is like the new version of the ST1 and 2. Basically, it's just a little bit softer tire overall.
Hold on, I've got the entry form pulled up. I think it says on the entry form what tires they're running. Yeah, ST1 Star. Yeah, ST1 and ST3 Star. So there you go. So same tire is a good thing then, right?
Same tire is a good thing. I think it's going to make for good racing. Get some rubber in the top groove. The Tempa cars, they'll lean more to passing in 2 grooves because the aero's not is dependent, right? Not that Flat Rock's super aero dependent, because you're not going that fast, but now you're turning constantly and you are going faster. So I think there's a little bit of aero there, that plays an effect on the outside groove that didn't used to play back a couple years ago.
So Zach always teases me because I'm the gambler of us two, right? So Am I betting?
Only because I'm not allowed to. All right.
Oh, I'm allowed to. Am I putting $20 on Brian Bergakker for the Joy Fair or 100?
Well, I would stay with 20 because you got some cars coming that people don't know are coming. Justin Collardy's coming. Blake Childers is coming. I heard Chloe Mazzagatti might be coming, right? I'm not certain on that. And then Mark Shook and those guys were talking about coming. So like you got some top-notch cars that are going to roll into town. A lot of those guys haven't been there, right? So it's going to take them a little bit of time. But Mark Shook and those guys are phenomenal everywhere they go. So if they roll into town, they're going to be somebody to contend with. You know, Blake's been really fast the last couple of years. He's going to be somebody to contend with, right? If they figure the racetrack out in practice, it's going to be a really good race.
Anybody?
Well, Blake wasn't at the Uper 100. You beat all them this weekend, the rest of them. So you should feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Blake didn't come up there. I think he had a bachelor party or something for one of his crew guys, but no, it's going to be a tough race. You know, the guys down at Flat Rock have really picked up their pace. You know, Chris Benson, you know, some of them guys have really, you know, they found some speed, right? And it's tough to pass with the new asphalt. So, like, I think it's going to be a good race. And 100 laps will tell the story, right? Who's got the best tires? Who's got the best, you know, save program, you know? So we'll see. I'm excited.
So you're used to coming into Flat Rock and taking their money on the Outlaw. Are you going to find a template ride this week so you can try to do the double?
No, we're going to leave the template car home. We're not going to take that. So we actually, the team this weekend, there's a big street stock race at Plymouth. There's like a team race at Plymouth this weekend. So half the team's going to Plymouth and the other half the team's going to Flat Rock with us. So we don't have the normal size crew that I normally would bring with me. So we're just going to bring one car and go have some fun and hopefully bring home the trophy and the check.
All right, man. Well, hey, congratulations on the win Saturday. What a cool win. I'm kicking myself now. I got home at 2 a.m. on Saturday from my race and I was going to go to Kinross, make the 5-hour trip, and I didn't. Man, I wish I would have because it looks like it was a lot of fun. But nice job. Congratulations on the win, Brian, and good luck this weekend, man. See what you can do at Flat Rock.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, a brand new segment here on Horsepower Happenings. We're getting credentialed with Koty Geyer. That's straight ahead. Coming up next.
The Horsepower Happenings podcast is Michigan's short track racing authority. For nearly a decade, Horsepower Happenings has given race fans a chance to hear directly from their favorite drivers, local track owners, and promoters. Horsepower Happenings is the only podcast keeping fans engaged with Michigan area racing for 52 weeks a year. Don't miss the Horsepower Happenings podcast live on Facebook every Monday night at 6:30 and available everywhere you enjoy podcasts. Visit horsepowerhappenings.com and follow on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube.
Think your camper handled the winter just fine? Think again. Every time the temperature fluctuates, drop moisture freezes and expands, turning tiny hairline cracks into major pathways for water. That freeze-thaw cycle is a silent killer for RV seals. If you haven't had a professional roof and exterior sealant inspection this spring, you're likely towing a leak you can't see yet. Midwest Camper Repair specializes in catching that winter damage before it reaches your interior. We're mobile and we check it all from the roof to the floor. Don't let a winter crack ruin your summer fun. Call Midwest Camper Repair today and start the season sealed tight. Call 419-799-1171. That's 419-799-1171. Or visit MidwestCamperRepair.com. Serving the tri-state area from the roof to the floor, Midwest Camper Repair has you covered.
KG Media is your home for all things photography, race day social media, and more. Koty Geyer brings more than a decade of experience working with the top brands in short track racing. From individual photos to full race days, social media to PR, KG Media can make your race team, race track, or touring series stand out. For more information, go to marknews.org or visit KG Media on Facebook.
One of the biggest question marks for your event is, what are we going to do for food? Heavenly Smoked Barbecue is your answer. Serving Michigan and Northern Indiana, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue brings the best from the grill to your plate with pulled pork, pork belly, chicken, mac and cheese, baked beans, and more. Graduation open house, birthday parties, weddings, festivals. If it needs food, Heavenly Smoked Barbecue will offer options that will have them saying, that smells heavenly. Call 269-908-3948 or find Heavenly Smoked Barbecue on Facebook.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Horsepower Happenings. I'm Koty Geyer. Obviously, Zach and Rich are still here, but
he says with disappointment.
With disappointment.
My goodness.
But excited to bring to you a new segment called Credentialed. Going to talk to all the media members here in Michigan and the surrounding areas, anywhere from photographers, writers, announcers, cameramen, and just have a conversation about racing. So for the first segment of Credentialed, I'm glad to bring in Chelsea Landis. Welcome to Horsepower Happenings.
Hi.
Thanks for being on, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me.
So I remember when we first met, it was at New Paris. It's got to be close to 10 years ago now. You were working in the tower. So just how did you end up with the camera in your hand?
Basically, New Paris was needing a new track photographer, and my first camera, Donnie and Sabrina Klotz, helped me get. And then after that, I just started traveling and looked up from there.
So whenever you started at New Paris, what were some of the first things that you learned? I wouldn't necessarily say about photography, maybe so, but just about shooting motorsports in general.
Some of the first things I learned is to always keep your head on a bobble, always be ready. You got to have it in your hands. I learned how to pan, from Jody Prince, because I couldn't quite figure it out how to get those speed shots with the blurred background, things like that.
I think one of my questions would be, you've got one of the most recognizable last names now in our area. Can you kind of tie some of the family tree together for us, for those who are being introduced to you for the first time?
John and Jack were actually just going over the family tree a few weeks ago, but I wasn't a part of that conversation, so I'm quite not sure. It's through my husband. I think him and Jack are second cousins.
Okay, very good. So did you know what you were getting into? Like, you were already involved in motorsports before you married in, right? Like, what's your... No? Okay, continue.
No.
Go ahead.
So I grew up in Angola, and I never even knew we had a racetrack until I started dating my husband. He said he goes to the racetrack. There's a racetrack in Angola. I'm like, what? I grew up here. I didn't even know we had this, until he took me and I experienced it for my first time. And he started working at New Paris, and that's where I started really getting involved behind the scenes.
So whenever you first started traveling away from New Paris, I know me personally, I like to maybe do a little bit of scouting beforehand when I go to a new track, or take a walk around. Just what did you do to whenever you showed up to a new track with your camera?
Basically, you got to scope it out, see the lay of the land, or, I try to look up photographers that have maybe shot at that track to try to get some ideas. I go to your page a lot to get ideas. Wayne Goodman's another one I follow at Owasso, because I wasn't quite sure how to get certain shots there. So looking at you guys' page, I got some ideas how to shoot from outside the fence, and make it work.
So I have a question. With Koty, you don't know on any given weekend if he's going to be a dirt track or a pavement track. Are you doing both? And where have you been on the dirt if you have?
I haven't really shot dirt much. I've only shot dirt, I think, at Plymouth, and then that was the last year it was dirt. I helped out a little there. My husband was the track flagman at the time, so I got to shoot there. And then at the end of that year, that's when they took off the dirt, and Kevin came on board.
Not without invitation, by the way. You do have some opportunities to shoot dirt if you want it. Let's just be clear about that. What's the progression been like for you? I went back and kind of looked through your page today, and as a guy who loves the sport and has to find pictures of things all the time, you've clearly gotten better, which is what every photographer wants to do, is to continue to improve. How has that process been for you, of kind of critiquing your own work and figuring out, what shots and what compositions and what things work for you? What has that process been like?
I feel like I'm my own worst critic. Even when I take really good shots, I always feel like I could have done better. But when I look back at my older pictures, I do definitely see the progress. It's just years of researching online and getting help from other photographers. I did get a second camera, so that helped a little bit with the quality, things like that. Trying to post more on Facebook, staying current. kind of slacked in my past years on posting, so I'm trying to get better at that.
And
I
just
have a question. Go ahead, Cody. Go ahead.
Just how do you get past that being your own worst critic?
You just got to push through. There's people out there that support you. So I see the love every weekend. And even when I'm doubting myself, I know that there are people out there supporting me and they like what I do.
So I got a question. Now, this is a little bit different. And the reason I'm going to ask this is because being an announcer and in the media covering races, I meet a lot of photographers, right, at all different races, whether touring series events or local races. And I know when I was a race car driver, there was a race that sticks out that says, this is one of my best races I ever had. Do you have a photo or a moment that you say, I was on and I caught it and I can't believe I did it?
I have one for her if she doesn't.
I really can't think of any off top of my head. I've caught some good wrecks, at Winchester, at Owasso, and different places like that. But I'm not really sure what would be my favorite race or the race where, I captured the best.
I think your coverage of J.R. Fitzpatrick's wreck, first of all, was the first one to hit the internet, which is sometimes there's too much weight given to that, but it was significant in the moment. But you also, the way that your shots came out, I feel like really kind of caught the way that the air got sucked out of that place. That to me is your, at least for what I've been watching the last couple of years, that's what you've got right now is that J.R. Fitzpatrick crash. The way that you did that was really good.
Honestly, that was just so crazy. I just put my cell phone down and I was recording, the starting laps. And then I heard it before I seen it. I just picked up my camera and I started shooting as much as I could, try to capture it.
Kelsey, how do you not get, I was announcing that race up in the tower on Track TV with Jonathan Ramos. How do you not get involved in the moment? Because we held our breath when JR hit the wall. How did you hold it together and be able to continue to shoot?
Sometimes it is hard. I catch myself watching and then forgetting to shoot because I am in the moment. But I just knew something crazy was going to go down and I needed to hold that button down, to try to capture it.
Hey, Rich, real quick. This is about Chelsea and Cody. And Cody, you can go next. I just want to ask real quick. Who did you call the Bob Finley Memorial with?
Jonathan Ramos.
Did you?
Oh, Zach Heiser. I'm sorry.
You said that, and I thought, now wait a minute. I thought I was up there too.
No, I was there two weeks in a row. I was at Owasso, which I never am, ever, and 2 weeks in a row. Oh, okay, yep. I did the big old classic. I did with Jonathan. I did with Zach.
All right, Rich. All right, Cody, what do you got, buddy?
So you and John travel everywhere. John, obviously, he's done just about everything there is to do in racing, from flagman to race director. He even drove a few races a couple years ago. But just how do you two balance everything going on in racing with what he's doing, helping out Adam now, and then what you're doing on the photography side?
It kind of really works this year with him helping Adam. I'm getting to travel a lot more. I'm getting to know the Outlaw guys a lot more, and girls with Chloe. So it's exciting. It's kind of easy to balance because, we're both there doing our own thing. We get together at the end of the night and share our stories of what happened, when we didn't get to see each other all day at the racetrack.
Cody, this is your segment, man. I was going to let you keep going.
And then in being able to do all this traveling, get to hang out with a set division on the road every week, just how fun has it been just to be able to get to know the drivers more personally, make new friendships with said drivers?
It's been a lot of fun, hanging out with the Terrys is awesome. They're such a great family, great people, becoming great friends. hanging out with them. I'm getting closer with, other families and teams. I like hanging out with Chloe Magazdagati's family. They're really fun, really caring. I used to be really nervous to go up to drivers. Now I'm getting more comfortable and I can, go up, have a conversation, ask for the shot that I want. Sometimes it's still a little nervous, but it's getting a lot better.
When you're not with the Outlaws and you have a week or two off, how do you do what goes into your decision of where you want to go?
Maybe different things on, what friends of ours are racing, things like that. I was just trying to figure out where we're going to go this weekend. Adam has this weekend off before we're back with the Revealed Hammer Series at M40. So this weekend, I'm either thinking about Angola because it's kind of home for us. It's our local track. It's closer. We know a lot of people there. I was also thinking about maybe going to Plymouth because the double play race, that's an awesome race, with the street stocks, and that should be a good one too.
How did you land on the? Both of us are just walking all over Koty now. How did you land on the type of shots that you wanted to do, and are you there yet? Like Koty's got a very distinct style that he does, and Riva, who shoots for us with GLSS, she's got a very distinct style. Like, is there something that you're working toward? Is there one specific way that you want your images to be viewed? Like, what is your goal for your photos when you're out there working?
I really like capturing the behind the scenes shots, the people that make race day happen, the pit shots. I kind of like to be known for that, capturing the behind the scene things like that. I feel like I have my own style when it comes to, editing. I can kind of point out when someone shares my photo, like, yep, that's my picture, so.
And just how has your style evolved over the years?
At first I wasn't editing at all. It was kind of just, drop the pictures into the old laptop and upload them on Facebook, but I've gotten more into Lightroom. Jody Prince and helped a lot. And so did Ricky Klein when it comes to editing. I always try to strive to compare myself to Ricky Klein's photos because I just love the colors in his pictures. I like to have it pop. The cars pop on the track.
All right, Koty, last thing for Chelsea or Rich, if either of you got one more thing here.
Yeah, I just want to ask you. We have a chat group, a private chat group with a lot of us that are in the media or announcers. Chelsea, AI, yay or nay?
Oh boy.
I don't really have much to say about AI. I feel like it can be helpful, but the flyers are starting to look pretty similar to one another. I feel like it's hard to stand out. I feel like it can be useful for smaller things, but not, something to use on a weekly basis to try to promote things.
And what's your favorite track that you've shot?
I really like shooting at Winchester because it's just so wide open. It was awesome shooting at Ken Ross because it's kind of similar to New Paris. You can get really close to the cars on the track and the corners, but then it's weird. It's like Berlin where you got no walls down the backstretch. So I would say Winchester and maybe now Ken Ross.
All right, well, I'm going to have you two help us close out the show. This would be normally where we would talk about the upcoming events that we have coming up this weekend. Chelsea, you already kind of led into that a little bit. You're not quite sure where you're going to go this weekend. Do you have anything that's leading the way?
Nope, I'm still undecided. It's either going to be Angola or probably Plymouth, and then next week after that, we're going to be at M40 for the Revealed Hammer Series.
All right, Koty, and where are you headed this weekend? Are you with us?
Well, Wednesday I'll be at Owasso for a race for the million. I'll be working for Flow Racing then. And then I'm with you guys Friday and Saturday at Lima Land and Lawrenceburg. So I'll be up top.
All right. Rich, what do you got going on?
I'll be at Flat Rock Speedway on Saturday for a huge event. The Motor City 125 for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series and the ASA CRA Super Series. We're also, because of the rain out a couple of weeks ago, also on the same date, the Outlaw Super Late Models, the Joy Fair Memorial 100. I got some other information. Special start time. We got to get this out there. 6 p.m. start time at Flat Rock this Saturday. Practice kicks off at 12:30. Turn 1 CRA qualifying is at 3:40. Joy Fair qualifying is at 4:10. We'll have an on-track autograph session from 4:55 to 5:30. Then we'll kick off pre-race ceremonies simultaneously, back to back. We're going to do them all at the beginning of the night at 5:35, and then the green flag for the Motor City 125 will go off at 6:05. Tickets are still available at flatrockspeedway.com.
All right, and that's going to do it for our program tonight. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Koty. Thanks for being a part of our first ever segment of Credentialed. I want to say thanks to Brian, our other guest, and Dustin Daggett. For Rich France, Noah Longyear, my producer, or our producer, rather. He's not just mine. I share him. He's our producer. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you same time, same place next week right here on Horsepower Happenings.
You've been listening to Horsepower Happenings. The views and opinions expressed in tonight's show may not directly reflect that of Horsepower Happenings. The contents of this program may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or disseminated without the express written consent of Horsepower Happenings. Follow Horsepower Happenings on Facebook, Instagram, X, and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, and Pandora, to keep up on what's happening.